Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 534. Today is the 19th of February 2025. We've got a couple of quick announcements, but going to say hi to the guys and then jump into answering your local SEO questions. So, while I try not to lose my voice here, I'm going to ask Chris to tell us how he's doing. So, Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Working pretty deep in the trenches. Quite busy here. At the same time, weather is quite shit and cold at the moment here again. So that's exactly the time to get the working.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, I feel you. We got a bunch of stuff in the works. I got something coming for Semantic Mastery. You're working on stuff. Bradley's always working on stuff. So yeah, speaking of Bradley, how you doing?
Good, man. Busy as hell. It's cold as hell there, though, man. It's 20 degrees. The high today was 22. Tomorrow the high is going to be 19, and we got about 4 inches of snow. So after all the flooding we had last weekend, which it flooded like crazy here, all around where I'm at. Multiple towns are destroyed. Part of Grundy, where I'm at, was destroyed. The gym, it went underwater, so the gym's closed right now. It's the only gym in town. So right on top of all that shit, you got a bunch of snow and frigid ass cold weather. So it's been a bit of a rough winter for the last couple of weeks, but I'm
Damn.
here.
All right,
So
we'll stay dry and stay safe, man.
yeah, man.
Let's see, Bradley. Day before yesterday, you had the webinar. You were chatting with Attaché. You mind telling people or reminding people about that? Because I'm gonna post the link on the page for anyone that wants to check that out, and we sent that out via emails too.
Yeah, sure. We had a meeting or a webinar with Attaché, and his company's name is Hyperkey, and they are a company that I've been working with now. In April, it will be 3 years. They do appointment setting, but they do it primarily through cold email, cold calling, cold outreach via social media, et cetera. But cold email is the main driver. And because I was managing the cold email stuff for my own local SEO agency, and I didn't really have the bandwidth at the time because I was still developing my white label services. So I just wanted to outsource the appointment setting and the cold emailing and all that for Semantic Links. So I hired this company, Hyperkey. They weren't called that at the time, but they rebranded. So they're now called Hyperkey. And I've been working with Attaché ever since. And that was in April of 2022 when I did that or hired them. And those guys are phenomenal. And so they have a done for you cold email system setup and management where they will build the cold email system for you, warm up all the domains. It comes with 100 email accounts that are all pre-warmed, the domain's pre-warmed and everything, and they'll manage all of it for you so that you can just go in and send out your emails, do all of your prospecting and cold emailing without having to manage and maintain the system, the infrastructure. Okay. Um, it's not it's a bit of a pain in the ass to build all the stuff and integrate everything because that's what I teach at the DHA program is I teach how to build that system and manage it because that's the main driver of lead generation for my agencies. So I teach all of that, but it is a lot of technical setup. That's why phase one is a 12-week program. I mean, there's more to it than just setting up the cold email infrastructure because we're also building a directory and lead generation brand, organic lead generation assets. So there's a lot that goes into what I teach. But specifically, just even the cold email setup, the system setup is a pain in the ass, and it's a lot. I mean, I've got full SOPs. There's a lot of technical setup that goes into it and everything, and I provide support to help people. But for those people that don't have the desire or maybe the bandwidth, right, the time to invest in building it themselves and in managing it, this is a great alternative, which is why we brought Attaché on and is to present this offer because those guys are really good. It's like $500 a month, I think. I can't remember what the price was. I think it's $500 a month, but that includes 100 email accounts that they manage and maintain for you. They keep the reputation up to sending and all that kind of stuff. So all you have to do is, send out cold emails and then work the leads, right? So I think it's a great opportunity for the people that, because I've had people that have started in the SOPs as part of the mastermind. They've started on the SOPs to build it, and because there's a lot of technical setup, they just they lose interest and they abandon it. And I see that a lot, by the way. And for whatever reason, people start and then they hit some technical hurdles and they quit. And I don't know why, but a lot of people have done that. So this is for those people, for those that want this system but know they don't have the time. Just go get it done for you, and then you'll have the ability to generate leads consistently through cold email, which is what I've been doing for 4 years. Hopefully that's clear.
Awesome. Definitely. I'll put the link up there. That's all I got for right now, guys. Anything else before we jump into questions?
I don't have anything else right now. No.
Cool. All right, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Because we got a lot of questions anyway. So let's jump into it. Should be seeing my full screen. Is that correct?
Good to
Yep.
go.
Okay, good. Thanks. Uh, why does Bradley look like he could be on the old Kung Fu TV series? Because I'm growing out my goatee. I've never had a real long goatee before, so I'm testing it. But thanks, man. That's funny. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to jump into these questions, guys. We got a lot to get through today. So starting with the first one that I see is from Alex, and it says, "Hey Bradley, this is a question about how you connect each form field to each custom value when building out the LLG site, so a VA can just fill in the form." Well, all that's in the SOPs, Alex. I'm assuming that you got the SOPs from inside the MasterMind community. All of that is built into the snapshots. Like, in other words, in the LLG site deployment SOP, there's the snapshot for the LLG sites, right? So the sub accounts for deploying sub accounts to then deploy local lead generation sites within high level. And that's already all built in. It's in the automations. In fact, here's one of my sub accounts, Loudon Pro. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. In the automations, you'll see the LLG site automations. That's there. So what you do is you create custom value updaters. That's in the workflows of the automations, right? So, but in order to do it, first of all, you have to have custom fields, right? Because remember, form fields, when you fill out a form or a survey, it populates a contact record, which is a custom field, not a custom value. Just so you guys understand the difference, custom values are account level shortcodes. Custom fields are contact level shortcodes. You see the difference? So you have to duplicate all of the custom values into custom fields. So you have to have a 1-to-1 ratio. Each custom value has to have a custom field as well. So you have to have, and I built all of this into the snapshot that's already present. Okay, so if you use my snapshot, it's already all built for you. So let me just show you what I mean. If I go to settings and I go to custom fields, you'll see that under the folders here, we have the LLG sites. Now, if you've copied my template for the CSV or Excel files that we use to build the sites, we have 9 sheets. LLG company, keywords, URLs, images, and in cities 1 through 5, right? So it's a total of 9 sheets. So you'll see that we have 9, let me go ahead and expand this out. We have 9 custom fields folders. Like, in other words, these are folders. There's a 1-to-1 ratio. All these custom fields here are, well, these are custom values, but they've been duplicated as custom fields here. You see what I'm saying? The difference, contact dot versus custom underscore values dot. You see, that's the difference. So number one, we duplicate all of the custom values into custom fields. And so that's why I created the folders, so that we have a separate folder for all the custom values that have to be duplicated as custom fields for each one of the sheets, right? So there's 9 folders of custom fields. There's also 9 folders of custom values, right? We're going to come back here and we'll take a look at folders here. We got a 1-to-1 ratio here as well. You see that? Okay, so far, I hope you guys are following me so far, all right? So again, 1 through 9. Then we go to automations. Okay, so go to automation, workflows, create a new workflow, and you'll see I have it under the LLG site folder, and then you create a custom value updater. So the trigger is the form or the survey, right? The trigger is the form or the survey that you build, where then you pull in the custom fields. That's why you have to have the custom fields. You have to duplicate them, because that's how you build the form. You build the form with custom fields, right? So you have to have a field for each one of those as well, which is why we have 9 forms specifically set up for each one of those folders, essentially. Each one of these sheets is what they're for, right? And so the custom values updater is, we have the trigger, which is the form or the survey submitted, and you select which form or survey it is that you submit, and then you under the action, you select custom value updater, and then it's the custom value, and then the new value is going to be the contact field, the contact value, the custom custom field. value. Does that make sense? The token, the short code. So that's from the contact record, because we're updating a custom value, which is an account level short code, via a contact level short code, which is a custom field. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that might be confusing, guys, but that's why I built it the way that I did. But then once you have to do that for each of the fields. So every one of these has to have a separate, or the ones that need to be filled out, they have to have a separate action item for each one of those. So you see, that's why there's a whole bunch of them. So there's 9 of these automations. Each one of them is basically when it fills out. And by the way, as part of the SOPs, this is my assistant, our support manager, Chris Greenhow. He's the one that produced this code right here. So now there's a 1-to-1 ratio between the number of forms or surveys that we fill out to build the sheet. So there's 9 of them. And there's a separate form for each. And then all you have to do is go visit that form in a browser. I'll demonstrate this here, as a matter of fact. Let me just go ahead and demonstrate. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go to Sites, Forms, LLG Site Forms. Okay, you'll see there's 9 of them, just like I showed. 9 sheets, right? See the pattern here? So if we go in LLG company data, for example, and I didn't mean to click into the form. What I meant to do was click preview. So let me click here and click preview. That's going to open up the form. Okay. Now, here is where whenever you can copy and paste data from here into here, but that's a pain in the ass. It can be done, right? You can do what I'm doing with my screen here, which is what we were doing originally when I first developed this. This is how we would do it. We'd open them up just like this, and then we would just copy this and go 1-to-1, right? So we'd start with business address, wherever that is. So just skip over brand, and then it should be a 1-to-1 ratio going on down the line. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And we just copy and paste that stuff in just like that. And sorry, we do it like this. Right, because we got to populate the values. And then once we got done, we hit submit. We do that for 9 separate forms, but that's a lot of copying and pasting from here to here, right? It's a lot of manual work. So Chris Greenhow, our support manager, he created this little script, this code here. I don't even know how he did it, to be honest. I'm not a coder, and I don't have any desire to be, but I can lean on people like Chris G when I need something done, and that's what I did. I told him, he offered this. He was like, hey, man, I know a way that I can add this parameter code to each one of these sheets to where all you have to do is have this Excel file opened up in OneDrive in the browser next to the forms. And then all you got to do is copy that and paste it, append it to the end of the form URL and hit submit or refresh or whatever. And it will automatically pull the values from the sheet and populate all those empty fields. Does that make sense? So if I show you, this is the company information. I'm going to have to go grab the URL for this. So stand by for 1 second. I get in there. I should have had that ready. Okay, so if we go over here to LLG company, now I'm not going to do this because I don't want it to override my current, but we see I've got the LLG company data form right here. We've got it opened up, and all I'm going to do is copy this and append this to the end of the form and hit enter. And apparently, oh, you know what? I didn't copy it fully. Try that again. Allow. That's why it wasn't allowing me to copy it. It's weird. Okay, see that? You guys see that? All I did was append that code to the end of that URL and just hit enter. And it automatically populated this with all the available data. You guys see that? So that's how, again, it's all that's in the SOPs. If you're in the MasterMind, it's in the snapshot. It's already built in. You don't have to do anything else other than complete the CSV file, which a VA should be doing, not you, right? Just complete the CSV file with all the data. And then all you got to do is, and your VA should be doing this, is go into the high-level account, open up each form, then go copy that URL params code, make sure that's open in the same browser, put that code on the end and hit enter, and it automatically populates this entire form, and then all you got to do is hit submit. It's a super fast and easy way to build these sites, right? The most time-consuming part is collecting this data. right? Preparing all this data for these sheets. But that's why a VA does this, right? And then the VA can deploy the site and populate all those forms and everything using their URL params code, as you can see right there. All right, hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, all of that stuff is built into all the SOPs and the snapshots. So you shouldn't have any trouble whatsoever unless you're just trying to do it on your own, in which case I just showed you how to do it, right? Great question. Next, Fox says, if we want to target entities, where on the page heading structure should they go? Meta, title, H1, H2? Yes. Moving on. No. Fox, what that means is yes, you should be using entity variants in all the main optimization elements of the page, which the main optimization elements of the page is starting with the URL. It's always the first touch point. How does any large language model or any search engine or any bot ever find a page? It's always through the URL, right? The URL is always the first touch point. So URL, then there's titles, which includes the SEO title and the page or post title. So the SEO title is the meta title. The page or post title is the H1, right? So now the main optimization elements is just where we want to try to use entities and use variants of the primary entity in the main optimization element, points, the main optimization points of the page, which again, URL, titles, headings, which are H2s, subheadings, which are H3s, 4s, 5s, etc., and then internal links and media. Those are the main optimization points or elements of a page. You want to use entity variants in all of those points, okay? And I've showed this dozens and dozens of times, but remember, if you're trying to identify what entity variants are, go look for the page in Wikipedia, click into the page, then click on anything that's in bolded text in the paragraph text is an entity variant with the main entity term, okay? Subheadings and headings and subheadings are not typically entity variants. In some cases, they can be, but the way that you can determine it is by clicking on Tools, What Links Here, Hide Transclusions, Hide Links, and click Go. Now, these are different terms that can be used interchangeably with this term. Does that make sense? So, I'm just pointing it out because, like, here, I'll give you a better example. And I've talked about this before, but if we look at, like, repair, I love to use this one because I see people doing this kind of shit all the time. But repair equals maintenance, right? But maintenance equals a lot more than repair, right? Repair equals maintenance, but maintenance equals a lot more than repair. It says that right here. The technical meaning of maintenance involves checks or inspections, servicing, repairing, or replacing. So if you understand, maintenance is synonymous with inspection, service, repair, and replacement. You understand it's synonymous with all of those. So, like, I use the roofing example all the time because I see, roofers all the time and SEOs that do work for roofers, where they'll have roof repair plus city, roof replacement plus city, roof cleaning plus city, roof inspection plus city, right? Roof installation plus city. Well, all of that falls under roof maintenance. Every one of those falls under roof maintenance. So you can have one page instead of 5 pages in that example there. So one page, roof maintenance plus city, actually has all the topic coverage for all those other terms that I just mentioned: roof repair, roof replacement, roof inspection, roof cleaning, roof installation. All of those fall under roof maintenance. That's entity-based SEO. That is the difference. Keyword-based SEO is what I still see most SEOs doing, which is keyword times city for every keyword times every city. And it's a ton of redundancy and over optimization and duplication, and it creates crawl resistance, and Google hates that shit right now. And so roof maintenance is the topic term that is all inclusive of all of those other terms. And if you click on Tools, What Links Here, Hide Transclusions, Hide Links, and click Go, look at all the entity variants that can be used interchangeably with this term here. So that's why when I do audits, I'm very, very thorough in my audits, and I show, let me give you an example. I'll just demonstrate this. Boom. This is the page. See, I got an audit in progress right now that I have to deliver. I've got to finish recording the video once I'm done with Hump Day Hangouts and deliver it. That's what all these tabs are open for. That's when I'm doing audits. I have all these tabs open because I'm going through an audits. But this is what I'm talking about, categories and topics. I show how Google business categories are created from Wikipedia topics or entities. And I link to every single one of them as I show how the Google business categories are created from Wikipedia entities, so that when I provide the audit document to the whoever purchased it from me, and I get into the page structure recommendations section of the audit where I specifically recommend all the stuff that I just described a moment ago, which are page structure recommendations, titles, headings, subheadings, internal links, all of that kind of stuff. Then I reference all of the entities that make up the Google business categories for that particular campaign and link to all of them here. So this is just the master doc that I keep so that I don't have to keep redoing this, recreating this every time I do an audit. Now I just copy and paste it. But this shows I link to those specifically so that people can, when they're auditing, or excuse me, when they're optimizing the site based upon the audit document, they can click through and very quickly identify the entity variants that they can use at the page level while they're optimizing. Like plumbers and drain surgeon are all synonymous with plumber. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I go through this process of breaking down these, Google business categories into their components via Wikipedia topics or entity pages, specifically so that I can provide that first so that the client can understand that concept better. Number two, it's to provide them with the Wikipedia pages and easy. All they got to do is click through and then they can go identify entity variants to be using while they're re-optimizing or restructuring the site, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that's clear. It's a good question, but the answer is all of the above. Where do you put them? All of the above, okay? Using variants. Alex says, hey, Bradley, I know you don't want to actively create Google business profiles for the reason you mentioned, but if you were to make one, is there a way to find where the most active areas with people searching on the map are for a particular area? Not that I'm aware of, although you can look for GMB Crush. I know GMB, which is Mateo's tool, GMB Crush. I know that for storefront businesses, it has the option that is kind of like a heat map that will show like, but I think yeah. Well, I don't know that I can't. It's been a while since I've used GMB Crush, but I think there's a module in their audit, their audit function or feature or whatever that shows driving directions. Driving directions from particular zip codes. Like I can't remember though if it has to be integrated with the GBP to pull in that data or if it's just pull. I can't remember honestly because it's been over a year since I've even used GMB Crush. But I think that's the only one that I can recall that had a similar function was GMB Crush. Anybody else that is watching this, if anybody has any clues as to sort of local search grid or heat map like apps or something that does that can show within a specific defined area where there's more interest for particular search queries. I don't know. I think GMB Crush has the functionality to do that, but it's based upon zip codes and driving directions, and so it can show you the hot spots within a region where there's more activity. But from what and again, I could be wrong about this because I'm trying to remember what that specific section of that or function of that tool was that produced that data. And I can't remember if that's relevant to what you're asking about or not, but that might be something you look into. Outside of that, I don't have any others that would that I can think of that would give that kind of data, excuse me. Does that make sense? I don't know. I use Google Trends, but that's kind of macro data. It's not micro data. Like in other words, that's much larger scale data. When you really narrow down within trends, it doesn't give you much data, if any at all. So it's not good for what you're asking about. So unfortunately, I don't have a better answer than that. I think GMB Crush has a functionality for that, but I think it has to be a storefront business in order to see that type of data. But I'm not 100% sure. You'd have to double check with GMB Crush. Sorry, I don't have a better answer. Hey, Bradley, will a sudden drop of SERP rankings on an LLG site affect any GMBs that the site or brand has associated with it? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know that for sure. And the reason I don't have an answer for you, Alex, is because remember, I'm not doing that with GBP, with local lead gen assets like the LLG brand. I am not connecting them to GBPs, and I'm not teaching that. I'm teaching you build the local lead generation assets as organic only assets. And then you build for clients, you're going to build new sites for them, right? That then you're going to associate with their Google business profile. Now, in some cases, like the Loudon Felling Pro one that I just showed you guys, we were just looking at, I think we were looking at this a moment ago. for some reason or another. Oh yeah, we were looking at the sub account in here. Anyways, Loudon Felling Pro, like sorry, give me a second. The oh yeah, so this one is one that I just recently had a GBP rebranded from a different brand into this one. So I do have some LLG sites that now have a Google Business Profile associated with them, but under the same brand. So for example, because I just added this actually today, this one has a GBP associated with it, but none of my LLG sites got hit with the recent update, the spam update. So I didn't have a loss of any rankings on any of them, right? Like, so I didn't get hit, but I know that some LLG members or some DHA members had their domain hit, their LLG domain hit in that spam update for whatever reason. Not because they did anything spammy, just unintended consequence. They got caught up in it. And so those projects don't have GBPs. So I don't know. I don't know if it would pull it down or not. I haven't seen it myself because I haven't had any of my own LLG sites that have none of my LLG sites got hit with the spam update anyways, but I only have a handful of them connected to GBPs and they didn't get hit anyways. And all the others in the DHA program that had their sites get hit were sites without GBPs. So honestly, I don't know. It makes sense that it could pull the GBP down, but a quick way to determine that is just swap out the website URL, right? By the way, if you've got the LLG sites, whether it's WordPress or high level, in high level, it's incredibly easy to clone the site or just map the site over to a different domain. That's the quickest way to recover. You don't have to build a new site. In high level, all you got to do is change the mapping, right? Add a new domain. Let me just show you. If I go to settings, domains, from inside this account, all I have to do is click add new domain, right? And just all I have to do is add a new domain, and then through the adding the domain process, which is going to give you CNAME records via Cloudflare, right? You then once you add the CNAME records and click authorize, it'll take 30 seconds or so, and then it's going to pop up and say which site or funnel do you want to associate this domain with. And all you got to do is then now reassign that new domain to that whatever website it is that you got hit, and then go submit that one for indexing and see if it comes back. A lot of the people that got hit, that's all they did was change out their domain and boom, they're back up and running again. Okay. So that's what I would recommend that you do. It's an easy way to overcome that. Or you could spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to recover and never end up recovering anyway. So I say, shit, especially if you've got new assets that don't have a lot of history, you have not invested much in link building. By the way, even if it did get hit, you can still do a redirect and redirect any link equity for links that were built to that domain that got hit over to your new site, or run it through a buffer, build an ID page for a site, and then build for a location essentially, and then redirect any of the URLs from the old domain to that one. If you built any links to the old domain that got hit, if that makes sense. So you can either do a direct redirect to the new money site, which I've done many times and I've not seen any problems with it. Or if you're concerned, then create a buffer. You redirect the old domain that got penalized or hit or whatever to a buffer that then links to the new money site on the new domain. If that makes sense. Okay. But yeah, that's an easy fix, especially with high level. If you're doing WordPress, it's a little bit more involved because then you got to, well, I guess with WordPress, you might be able to just have the host change the domain. I'm not sure. I've always done a migration. And WPX will do that for you, by the way, which is really cool. So I use WPX host for WordPress, but I try to stay away from WordPress now. So Jim's up. Jim says, Bradley, one off-topic question. When creating an LLC for our directory agency, is it better to set up individual LLCs for different projects? For example, do you have separate LLCs for TreeCareHQ and Semantic Links? No, I have one corporation. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago or last week, but definitely worth covering again. No, I have one LLC. And now, 10 years ago, I used to create an LLC for absolutely every business idea I had because it's super easy to create LLCs. Here's where it became a problem. When I submitted my taxes to my CPA to prepare my taxes, 10 years ago when I used to create LLCs for every business idea I had, at one time I had 8 or 9 LLC tax returns to prepare. And she charges me $500 per return to prepare taxes for each corporation, and then the same for another $500 for my personal return. And so I got hit with like a $5,000 tax preparation bill. Like that didn't cover, any taxes owed or anything. That was just the tax prep fee because I had so many corporations and so many LLCs. And my CPA, my accountant, her name is Sharon. She said, "Well, why are you doing all that? They're all related businesses. Why don't you just get DBAs, fictitious name certificates, and then you can operate all those businesses under one corporate entity." So I have one corporate entity. Well, I'm the principal, the sole owner of Big Bamboo Marketing LLC. I'm also a principal in other companies with partners with my partners at Semantic Mastery, et cetera. So I have other businesses, but I'm talking about all of my own agency, my own companies are all under one LLC. I've got DBAs for TreeCareHQ, Felling Pro, TreeCareHQ Local, Alpha Land Realty, Genesis Tree Service. I got a whole bunch of DBAs underneath that one LLC. So now all I do is have one corporate tax return to prepare every year. That's it. Okay. And I teach that in the MasterMind in the DHA program. Teach going out and getting DBAs for the directory brand and also for your LLG brand. You only need one corporation. Okay. Keep it simple. Don't do what I did because you end up with a paperwork nightmare and spending a lot more money in fees and taxes and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessary. Just one corporation is all you need. As long as they're related businesses, it doesn't matter. Okay. Zypha, what's up? He says, I made an LLG brand and built out 4 new subdomain style mini sites in a matter of 7 to 10 days, submitted to GSC, Google Search Console, and they are giving the discovered currently not indexed error any advice. Was I too fast in building the sites? No, just, Google's just slow to index stuff now, guys. It is what it is. Just submit them for indexers, build some links to them if you can. That typically will help. Not spam links though, but submit them to Google Search Console, submit the page URLs to indexers. Sometimes you have to do that multiple times in order for it to finally take. And I've seen Google's a bit flaky right now where things will come into the index and then they'll drop out and then they'll come back. Like, for example, ID pages. If you guys have ever tried to index an ID page on an Amazon S3 bucket, it's difficult. They don't index right away. And sometimes it takes weeks before they'll index, and you have to be intentional about getting them to index. There's a few tricks you can do, like linking to them from Google Business Posts, from the GBP that's related to that ID page, building links to them, making sure the add ID field of the local business schema, all of that. Well, something similar for the LLG sites, guys. It's like, if you haven't built any links to it yet, then you've got to give it other ways for Google to give Google a reason to crawl and index it. Right? Links is one of the reasons why, because Google will follow links around the web, and when it gets to the destination, it will crawl it. And so again, I'm just pointing that out because I would recommend that you build some links to it if you haven't already. Make sure that sitemaps are submitted to Search Console, and then also you can use indexers, multiple indexers if needed. But all I do is go visit the site and use the link gopher extension just like this. Just extract the links, get rid of the Google Maps links and anything that's not relevant. Like, so for example, get rid of the, contact us page. I don't care if that indexes or not, but just copy those URLs and submit them to an indexer, right? Use multiple indexers if needed. Okay. Little index, unless there's a problem with the domain. Okay, next one. Is there a way to completely remove the GBP from the SERP or maps? I'm talking about the listing not existing at all instead of being shown as permanently closed. I don't know. You could suggest an edit and see, right? So for example, just go right here. I can't remember. It's been so long, but you could always contact Google support too if you needed to, right? Go into Maps, click on Suggest and Edit. You know what? I'm a Google Manager on this one, so do it over here. Right there. Suggest and Edit, and then places closed or not here. Doesn't exist here. Right? That's what I would think it would be. Yeah, doesn't exist here. And then you typically you can take you can add supporting documentation like photos and things like that. And so, depending on what option you select here, sometimes it gives different requirements of additional data that they need in order to support your claim, if that makes sense. But that's what I would do. I would first try to just go do that, suggest an edit. It seems to be they tend to get accepted or reviewed. The edit request tends to be reviewed faster when you are suggesting an edit from a high-level Google local guide account. Okay, I think I'm a local guide level 6. I think I'm close to level 7, or maybe I'm level 5, close to level 6. In any case, I typically can suggest an edit and get a response back from Google Maps within 3 days, 3 business days. I usually get an email from them stating whether the edit request was accepted or rejected. Okay, that's what I would do. Okay, moving on. Trevor, when will the automations for the directory be added to the SOPs? I'm not sure what you mean, Trevor. They're already there. Everything is built into the snapshots, and the SOPs teach how to configure the snapshots, or specifically, and how it works through each of the sections. Everything's already there, Trevor. So I'm not sure what you mean. And if this is the Trevor that's in our mastermind, then just post in the mastermind community, and I'll provide you support in there specifically about where it is and that kind of stuff. Okay, but it's all there, man. So not sure what you're asking about. YouTube says, let's see. This was the comments. Let's just see if this makes sense to answer. If not, we'll move on. Blog posts or not was the video. Comment is what location post means. Normal post with the geo theme about the location, or a specific type of post. No, it's a page about a location. Page or post is about, it's optimized for that location. So an example would be this, right? Look at the Leesburg page here, right? This page is optimized for Leesburg, Virginia, but it's optimized in a way that it provides coverage for all the keywords, for all the services that is provided by this company in this area. You understand? So, like, just go take a look at this. Yeah, that's this project right here, actually. This is Loudon Felling Pro. I just deployed this site on January 23rd is when I added it to the rank tracker. I think it was deployed about a week before that. And so what I'm showing you here is, take a look at this. For example, see these. Now, Lincoln, Virginia, obviously is a low competition area, but it's one page that is ranking for all of those queries. TreeCare Lincoln, VA. It's the Lincoln page that ranks. It's not the TreeCare page. So I don't need TreeCare times Lincoln. Like, in other words, let's just go back and take a look at this. Let me move this over to the edge. It'll make it easier to see. All right. Do you understand? If we look at the Lincoln page, okay, we have on this site, I just showed you guys, Link Gopher. This is how many pages are on the site. These are all the links, but these are the pages on the site. There's like 12 pages on this site, guys. That's it, right? There's a home page, 4 service pages, 5 location pages, a contact, privacy, and a contact and a privacy and a thank you page. So I think that's 12 or 13 pages, whatever it is. Okay, that's it. That's all there is. So I do not have tree care Lincoln, tree removal Lincoln, tree trimming Lincoln, stump removal Lincoln. I don't have all of that, right? I have one page for Lincoln. That's this one page here. But it's optimized at the category and topic level, which is it's entity-based SEO. I call that category and topic optimization. So the SEO title is optimized for the primary Google business category optimization, tree service. The H1 is optimized for the primary topic term, which is tree maintenance. So I've optimized for both categories and topics. It's entity-based SEO that is optimized for categories for Google Maps, topics for organic. Okay. So this one page, and then I am referencing and linking to each of the individual services with proper HTML markup. So if you take a look at how this is marked up, well, you shouldn't have 2 H1s. You're right, but this is a high-level site. A high-level site has a desktop version and a mobile version. It is not a responsive design. There's 2 versions of the site. So there's 2 H1s. If it was a responsive site, then it would only have 1 H1. But what I'm saying is, look at the H2. It's this right here, Arborist Services, is an H2. Okay? Then look what is underneath that. Tree removal, H3. Tree trimming, H3, right? Tree care, H3. These are subheadings that support this H2 statement, right? Which is that's how it should be. Headings and subheadings. Subheadings should be used to support their respective headings, right? H2s, which are headings, should support or reinforce what the titles say. What are the titles? Meta title and H1. right? The H1 is the page or post title. The meta title is the SEO title, the meta title, the document title, right? So I always reference it this way. You should use the semantic triplet statement in the SEO title, which is it's an entity association statement. It's who the business is, what they do, and where they do it, right? Entity association between the brand entity, the product or service entity, and the location entity. Then the H1, which is the page or post title, should restate using variants what the SEO title said, but you can choose to omit the brand entity in that case because it's already established, because that page is published on the branded domain, which the brand has already been referenced in the SEO title. So the H1 should restate what the SEO title says, but using entity variants. That's where I always talk about, I'm going to optimize in the SEO title for the top level category or topic term, and in the H1, I'm going to optimize for the other one. So in other words, if I'm optimizing, like in this case, tree service, which is the top level category in the SEO title, then I'm going to optimize for the top level topic term in the H1, which is tree maintenance. Okay. So this is a restatement of the SEO title, just with using different variants. Okay. Maybe formatted differently, but it's basically restating what it says in the SEO title. Then the H2s should support, any H2 on this page should support the H1 and the SEO title. Any H3s, 4s, or 5s should support their respective H2s, right? And so, and by the way, these are now links that link over to those specific service pages. So what are we doing? We are creating an association. Guys, that's the semantic web. How do you optimize for the semantic web? Well, what is the semantic web? It's entity association, or how entities relate to each other, associate with each other, right? And so what we are doing is creating associations. So we're trying to force Google to recognize associations the way that we want Google to recognize them, right? And so what we're doing here is associating this location with each of these individual services. And this is now, these are H3 anchor text links. H3 anchor text links are weighted heavier than traditional paragraph text-based links. Do you understand? Because when it's in the content body of a page or a post, contextual links are weighted heavier than navigational links are. Navigational menu, sidebar, footer links. Contextual links are weighted heavier than navigational menu or navigational links are. You guys understand that? Well, likewise, within the post body, that's what makes it a contextual link. It's a link within the post body, within the body tags of a page or a post. If you add a heading tag, a heading tag to the, or subheading, so an H tag to the anchor text, that adds significance to the link. It makes it heavier, right? Google considers it more valuable. So that's why we do it this way. We optimize these pages with proper HTML hierarchy, headings and subheadings, so that it makes these links more significant, and it's associating these individual services with this location. Then if you go to any one of the service pages, it's doing the same thing, but like the flip side of it. In other words, now we're associating this service with each of the locations that this service is available to. And it's the same type of HTML markup, right? If we go take a look at the headings here, we get down to the service area right here. It's an H2, Loudoun County service area. These are H3s that are linking to their location pages with H3 anchor text links, because these are the locations that support this H2 statement, right? These are subheadings that support this heading, right? So I'm just pointing that out because that is, again, when you're building links or building location pages, it's not about doing the location times the product or the service or the keyword, the search query, whatever, for every single search query that you want to rank for, because that becomes redundant and it creates unnecessary pages and unnecessary work, and it creates more link building targets. The site will not index as well. Google is actually punishing sites like that now, again, thanks to the helpful content update. What Google is rewarding right now is site efficiency. In local search, the most important three things as far as on page is page structure, site structure, and internal linking. But then site efficiency is now number 4 too. Like, and I think that is critically important. So I always talk about the main optimization, or excuse me, the most important things when it comes to on-page optimization. I for the last 2 years or 2.5 years, I've been talking about those 3 items: page structure, site structure, internal linking. But site efficiency is now a 4th component that is critically important. And so it's much more efficient to build a site like this, right? That has one page optimized for the location, and then it creates the association between each of the services and that one location, and then vice versa. That one service times each of the locations. It associates each of the locations, and that's how we're able to achieve that, right? Which is what I was showing here. You can see that it's one page ranking for that search query, or for those search queries, not multiple pages, one page. Okay, so that's what I mean by location post. Location page or post, it doesn't matter. Page or post is just whether it was published as a page or a post. It makes no difference. Okay, it's just about publishing a page that is optimized for a location, but optimized at the category and topic level, which allows that page to then rank for all of the search queries associated or relevant to that business, with only one location page needed for that location, if that makes sense. Okay. Anyway, next. How effective would these links be, talking about cloud stack links? How effective would these links be, being that they are on newly created pages and have no links to them and have themselves never been indexed? Well, there's still link authority coming from them because they're published on cloud pages are hosted on high domain authority type properties. And yes, in this case, I do mean MOZ domain authority or domain rating. Those are metrics that I typically don't give two shits about. I'm honest to God, I care about relevance more than anything. I really don't care about those third-party metrics. But on cloud host sites or cloud hosts, when you're hosting cloud pages, you can siphon or inherit some of the domain rating or domain authority or both from those cloud sites. You'll see they have zero trust flow, right? But they'll have DR and DA. Okay. And then you can build links to those pages too, which is what I do. That's why when I do cloud stacks, I don't do cloud stacks where it's a cloud page and then dozens or hundreds of other cloud pages linked to that. I do one cloud page and then I do semantic links. So I just use niche edits or geo niche edits. So links with relevance to build to the cloud page. So that's what I call a cloud stack. I like to push relevance into a cloud stack or to a cloud page. And that's what I call a cloud stack. Hopefully that's clear. But they can be effective. There's no question. I use the shit out of that's all an ID page is a cloud page, guys. It's just it's the way that the cloud page is used that makes it an ID page. That's all it is. It's a cloud page. An ID page is nothing other than a cloud page, but it's the way that we use it that is makes it the ID page. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. They are effective. They are powerful, and they can be made more powerful. Fox says, for a location-based business with multiple GBPs, which GBP do you think should link to the homepage? None of them. Honestly, Fox, if you have a multi-location business with multiple GBPs and you got one website, why not have a dedicated location landing page for each location that you link the GBP to, so that the page that the GBP is linking to provides agreement with what Google understands about that physical location, right? Guys, I talk about this all the time, but like, again, go look at this site, right? The semantic triplet statements is what I was talking about. Subject, object, predicate, who you are, what you do, where you do it. On the homepage, you should be talking in the broadest terms possible about who the business is, what they do and where they do it, with a true statement, right? So in other words, like in this one, it says Loudon Felling Pro, and the hyphens are the stop words in the semantic triplet statement. So in other words, let's read it out the way that it should be read, right? Which would be Loudon Felling Pro is a tree service that serves Loudoun County, Virginia, or that operates within Loudoun County, Virginia, something like that. So essentially, it's the brand, the products or services, and the location in which they operate, which is, for a service area business, that is going to be a region. Typically, it's going to be not just typically, it's going to be more than just a specific city. It's going to be a city or a county or a metropolitan area, which is a region, or a larger region, right? It's going to be one of those. And so that's what this is a true statement. This is saying that Loudon Felling Pro is a tree service company that operates within Loudoun County, Virginia. Loudoun County is not a location. It's an area, but it's not a specific location, right? Specific locations within Loudoun County are Leesburg, Hamilton, Hillsborough, Lincoln, and Paonian Springs, I guess it's called. But Leesburg is where the city is for this one. So that is why if you go look at the GBP for this, what is it linked to, right? It is linked to the Leesburg page, not the home page, right? Because the home page is optimized for for Loudoun County, which is that's the way it should be optimized, because the home page should be about the broad descriptors of who the business is, what they do, and where they do it. Then you add specific specificity through inner pages. And so the GBP, Google knows where this GBP was registered to. Google knows the physical location of this business. And so therefore, I want to link this website URL, this GBP. So the website's what I call the location landing page. I want that to link to the page that is optimized for the city that the GBP is physically registered to, or in, if that makes sense. Okay. Moving on. So don't use the homepage. Now I know in some cases, like there was originally one location and then they expand, and so they continue to use the homepage, but I don't recommend that. Like if you've got multiple locations in the same city, then you can do that because they're all in the same city. And then you have to add descriptors or modifiers to each location for sections or boroughs or districts or neighborhoods or something with communities within the city to give it a descriptor. So that you can distinguish the difference between the locations. But if it's all in one city, if it's multiple locations with all the same city, different zip codes, obviously, but within the same city, then yeah, you could link to the homepage technically for that. But for most other businesses where they're going to have locations in multiple cities or towns, etc., then you want to have a separate dedicated location page for each city. And then you're going to want to link each GBP to its respective location page. Okay. Colton says, you mentioned 2 weeks ago that you stepped away from custom videos and booked a couple of appointments right away using your new method without videos. How's that going? Has it been consistent? Yes, it has been. It has been consistent, and that's what I'm actually working on. Several things. We've had a few no-shows from that process, which is normal. I expect that. But so this morning, I spent 3 hours this morning working on a no-show nurture sequence and an automation in high level so that now once when there's a booked appointment and they don't show up, all I now do is mark the appointment as no show, and it automatically adds that. I just finished it this morning. I literally spent 3 hours this morning building that out because I had an appointment yesterday afternoon that this one right here, this lady here stood me up yesterday at 4:30, and so that was I put that on my to-do list this morning, was to put on the no-show sequence, which you can see was on my office hours for this morning. And that's what I did. I spent 3 hours on it this morning and got it fully integrated into there. So yeah, it's going well. With tree service contractors, we get a lot of booked appointments that don't show up. And a lot of times they just get stuck on a job. I get it. I understand. I know the industry, so I get it. So now I put them in, like I said, I just finished the no-show nurture sequence today, and it's 5 emails over 10 days. 1 email a day for 3 days, and then it's 2 days. So it's 5 emails over 7 days. Yeah, because it's 1 email a day for 3 days, and then it's every other day for the last 2 emails. And I'll probably work some SMSs in there too. But all it does is basically encouraging them to come back and reschedule, which I'll cover in the MasterMind, that process during the next MasterMind webinar. All right, anyway, moving on. We only got a few minutes left. Huzaifa says, thoughts on getting a .directory domain for the directory in DHA? Yeah, sure. Give it a shot. I've not tested with those myself, but you could certainly do it. I've not had it. I mean, I know some people say, don't use those vanity extensions because they don't perform well. I disagree. I've not really. I mean, let me rephrase, guys. Remember, I'm in local and I stick to local. Okay. So other people that have said that those vanity domains, they might be in other type of SEO campaigns that aren't necessarily just strictly local. And maybe those don't perform as well when you're up against fierce competition. I don't know. But I've had no problem ranking .cares, like, because .care, which I think is supposed to be for health care stuff, but I've used it because of tree care, right? So something tree.care. So I've used it for that reason and ranked tree service sites for that. .pro, felling.pro is one. I've done a lot of stuff with .us's. So I don't think there's any problem with it. And it really fierce areas or competition projects with fierce competition, maybe that would have an influence on it. But in local, which is all I do, I've not seen that as being an issue. Okay. So give it a shot, man. Give it a shot. For beginners in DHA, do they first make a few LLGs, then scrape and make the free directory listings in those counties or cities, or that whole state in which they made? Yeah. So again, the way that I teach it is you only populate the directory initially with all the companies within a particular state. And I recommend 2 or 3 states, and then that's it. So the process is we identify low competition areas to start building organic lead generation assets in first. We build a few, a few locations that we select, we deploy assets, and then we go continue building the other infrastructure while we let those sit, index, let Google pick them up, all of that, because some of them will start to rank fairly well with no additional work. And so while you're building the rest of the infrastructure, you're allow those to season, right? To mature a little bit. They'll index, all that other kind of stuff. Then once you get the other infrastructure built, then you should have some LLG sites that can now be used as sales tools, opportunities to point to when you're on a sales conversation with companies in that area, that specific area where you have some results already, if that makes sense. So then for those locations, what I recommend, the ones that have some ranking performance, you go scrape the entire state worth of companies in that particular state. Then you clean and filter the list, process the list to proper formatting and deduplicate it and all that kind of stuff that we do. Then you upload it in to the directory, and then you start the cold email campaign in those specific locations where you have local lead generation assets, so that when you get on sales conversations, you can point to how you already have results in their area, at least for some of their products and services in some of the areas that they operate in. Hopefully that's clear. Okay. After you've done that for the first 2 or 3 states where you have local lead generation assets that are performing at least partially, then from that point forward, you shouldn't add any more directory contacts to the directory until and unless they positive reply back to your cold email campaign. So that's what we do. We do not add directory listings until we have a positive reply from the cold outreach, or if it's a user submitted listing, which what I mean by that is you'll see on, we have an add company page, right? So if a user comes to the site and submits, God damn it, and submits their own listing through the add company page, then we're going to add them in, unless we can determine if we can determine, or my team, if they can determine that it's a lead gen asset, it's not a real company, then we don't accept it. They can submit it, but we're not going to publish it. But if it is a real business, we will publish it. And if they have a positive reply from the cold email campaign, then we will publish it. But we do not add directory listings anymore until and unless we have a positive reply. I do recommend 2 to 3 states worth of contacts when you first build a directory, so that you can populate it with seed content. It will help it to index, help to kind of build topical authority, all that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Okay. I don't know why this lazy load wasn't letting those images pop up. So, all right, we got a couple more questions, guys, and we're going to wrap it up. It's almost time anyway. Alan says, hey, I've been following Semantic Mastery for a while. I love the content. I purchased the DHA 3-day workshop videos and just want some clarification on what should be my first step after I finish the first 3 days. Should I be building out a few LLGs and wait until they rank, or should I be sending out cold emails while I wait to try and offer some free deliverables until they rank? Well, that's a great question, Alan. But so the 3-day workshop was really about just setting up the cold email campaign, the infrastructure, and showing you how to use, build, set up instantly with workspace accounts, and then add a sequence that's been spin taxed essentially, so that it creates unique variants and all that. The 3-day workshop wasn't intended for people to go out and execute the full DHA program. Certainly you can. I'm not trying to discourage you from that. I want you to do it. But what I typically recommend in the full DHA program is, once you've got the email system set up so that now you're allowing domains to be in the warming process, right? As soon as you get that set up, the next thing is to start building local lead gen assets. Identify low competition areas to target and build lead generation assets in anywhere between 5 to 10 of those locations that you've identified, right? And then you let them sit while you go start doing the finish building the directory, and then scraping contacts, formatting the list, importing them in, putting them into the cold email app, all of that stuff. You allow those LLG sites to season. That's what I was talking about. You let them deploy them and then just submit them for indexing and let them go while you build the rest of the infrastructure, the directory, the scraping of the contacts, all of that kind of stuff. Then once you have all that stuff built and ready to go, you should have some local lead generation assets that are ranking at least partially, which is all you need to use that as a sales tool. And then that's when you're going to start sending out your cold emails to the areas that you already have local lead generation assets. And the only reason why I say that is because most of the people that join the program have no confidence in their own abilities. They don't have a a portfolio of campaigns or clients that they can point to when they're pitching their services. And so I want people building local lead generation assets so that it builds your confidence, so that when you are in a sales conversation with a prospect in that area, you have confidence in what you're selling because you can point and show them that you already have results in their area. It's a way to help you guys have more confidence in what you're pitching to the prospects. And it also allows you to build your own portfolio of digital real estate, which becomes an asset, not initially, but it does over time. And so there's a reason why I teach you guys to do that, which is to have the LLG assets, because it gives you multiple ways to boost your confidence, but also to kind of protect yourself in the event that a client wants to cancel, which they always will eventually, right? Because you're going to use a portion of their budget on a monthly basis to build up your branded assets on their behalf while they're a client of yours. But as soon as they leave, you get to keep all the work that part of their budget funded. Hopefully that's clear. All right. Last question, guys. We're a little bit over. Wayne, what's up, buddy? He says, Wayne, I just started getting back into watching Hump Day Hangouts. I do not know if the audience truly realizes the high level of info you give away on Wednesdays. Well, thank you, Wayne. I always appreciate you, man. He says, where can I find the link if I'm interested in the mastermind? Again, just go to mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Okay, I don't know if any of my partners are still here, but if they are, do I have any? There you are, Adam.
Yeah.
What's up,
I
buddy?
was just looking over stuff. I don't know if you want to hop over there. I don't think I'm really ahead of you. Sorry. Let's
Okay,
see.
no worries.
Also, don't let them bully you. Your goatee is badass. Yeah, I agree with Andrew.
Thanks, man. What's up, Andrew? What's up, buddy?
That's cool.
James,
I apologize if I missed this. Did you talk about Peter Drew's AI stuff?
no, but I'm on his waiting list he's getting ready to launch the Rank Bridge
Yeah.
beta access, and that's I had a call with him about 3 weeks ago specifically about that, and I'm anxious as hell to get in to play with that because I think that is absolutely going to be required for us as local marketers going forward. Is that, and I've also talked about the Mastermind Google Ads, so I'm trying to get better at that too. But I'm anxious to see to get access to the Rank Bridge software, and I will be testing that very heavily when I do get access, but I don't have access yet. But it's coming very soon. So,
Let's see.
would gutter cleaning fall under roof maintenance? Well, not necessarily. I mean, yes, it can't. That is typically a service that is offered by roofing companies. So yes, it's a related service. But like if you go look at uh, rain gutters, if you go to Wikipedia and look up gutters, it goes to a disambiguation page. And specifically, the version that you would be talking about would be rain gutters. So it's rain gutters is the actual entity. And in cleaning, which cleaning is a separate entity. So gutter cleaning is rain gutter cleaning combined to create gutter cleaning service, the Google business category. So it's actually three entities. It's rain gutter, cleaning, and service economics. Those are the three entities that create the gutter cleaning service Google business category. So that is a separate category, but it is closely related to roofing contractors because that is a service that most roofing companies provide. So hopefully that's clear. Digital Ear, what's up, man? That's Clint, I believe.
Yep.
Trains of Thought with DC. Could you re-show how you got to the Wikipedia topics in that search bar? I'm not sure what you mean. Trains of Thought. Let me grab the screen real quick. Well, I'm still got the screen, sorry. If you're talking about like how to find entity variants, I just talk about, God damn it. Let's just go into maintenance. If you go into any Wikipedia page, any text in bold that is in the paragraph bodies of the page, those are entity variants that can be used interchangeably with that term. Another way is to click Tools, What Links Here, Hide Transclusions and Hide Links, and click Go. All of these are entity variants that can be used interchangeably with this term. You understand? This is, again, these are all synonyms, guys, of this. This is the official entity term. And these are all synonyms. They all mean the same thing, basically. Okay. So that's, hopefully that answers the question. Yes, that is Clint. Excuse me, Clint. High level and easy in the same sentence. Well, when it comes to site building, I like high level sites and they're easy to deploy and easy to manage. So Costco membership. Can you talk about the sales process once you land a meeting or a phone call? When and how do you talk to them through the pricing without scaring them off? I tell them right up front, right at the beginning of the sales call. I tell them, well, by the way, that's the listing delivery call. That is the start of the sales conversation. So the process that I go through now is to send the contact a message sequence between email, SMS, and now voice as well that that tells them that their listing is ready for review and that I'm going to deliver it to them on a call where we can review the data, make sure it's accurate and that they're happy with it. And so we go through a process. There's a 3 if-else conditions in the workflows because there's 3 conditions that will occur when I send out that email, the sequence, which is again, email, SMS, and voice if needed. There's the voice call is done through an AI agent as well. But anyways, we send out the listing delivery message that it tells them to book a call, book an appointment, so we can deliver the listing on the call with them and review it, make sure everything is accurate. And they're either going to book the call from that message or they're going to follow up with a question that says, why do I need to book a call with this? Can't you just send it to me for review? So if they ask the question instead of booking the call, then we follow up with, well, during the process of optimizing the directory listing, we identified some issues that are preventing you from getting jobs within the service area that you claimed you want to get jobs from. We would like to address that with you on the call. When is a good time? Booking link, right? And so then they're either going to book the call or they're going to ask a follow-up question. The follow-up question is, well, what is the problems that were identified? Or what problem did you identify? Whatever, something similar to that. And then we have 2 short links that go to images that show the service area radius that they told us they want to get work in, and then a local search grid report that is fit within that same service area radius. And it shows usually a sea of red with maybe a speck of green in the middle. You know what I mean? And it says, well, so if they ask the question, well, what is the problem? Then another automated message goes out and says, well, this is where you told us you wanted to get jobs from. Boom, it sends them an SMS with the short link that takes them to that image with the radius map. Then but this is where you're actually getting jobs from, only the areas marked in green. And boom, it sends them another text message with a short link to the image that shows that big sea of red with one little speck of green in the middle. We can help you to get jobs for more of these areas in red. We would like to address that with you on the call. When is a good time? Booking link. So those are the 3 things. And once we get on the call, I tell them right at the very beginning of the call, hey, thank you for scheduling this call with me. Just so you know, before we get started, there's 2 things we're going to address on this call. Number 1, we're going to review your directory listing, make sure everything is accurate and that you're happy with it. And I can make any changes. There's no cost to this. It's free of charge. And number 2, I'm going to address the problems that we identified through the process of optimizing your directory listing. And then I'm going to present you with some simple low-cost solutions to help you to start to resolve those issues. Does it make sense for us to continue this call? And I nod my head up and down. And as I'm saying that, like literally, does it make sense for us to continue this call? And I've not once have they said no. Like, no, I don't need to hear this shit. Not once. Every one of them said, yeah, sure, let's go ahead. And then I go in, I review the directory listing with them. And then when I get into the next part, I say, okay, well, now we're entering part number 2 of this call, which is where I told you I was going to show you some of the problems we identified and give you some low-cost solutions. Just to give you a heads up, our front-end services, I have 3 front-end services. They're $99 each or combined $297 a month. That is what I'm going to be pitching to you as I show you what these services are. Because I want you to be aware. I don't want you to, and I say this to them, I hate getting on calls where I know that a pitch is coming and a hard close is coming. And I want to alleviate your fears right now and just let you know we've got some problems that we're going to show you and some simple low-cost solutions that will help you to start to resolve this. And they're very inexpensive. Should we continue this conversation? Nod your head. Yeah, sure, let's go. Let's do it, right? And then we just go have a conversation about it. And I show them exactly what I would have done via the email and SMS had they objected before scheduling the appointment. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. I'll talk about all this in the mastermind, guys. All right. I think we're done. Bradley, the example you just showed for Clint's question, what do you do if category like AR or Gen AI is not listed or has much listed in Wikipedia? Yeah, there are. I mean, there are some of these types of sites where some industries or categories where it doesn't fit nicely into this model, like real estate investors, or they call themselves investors, but quick turn real estate, like the We Buy Houses folks, there are no good categories for that. Water damage restoration companies, there's no good there, or building restoration companies, there's not really good house painters. That's another one. Just painting contractors, there's not really good Wikipedia topics or entities specifically for that. Right. So there's a few of these industries that it doesn't fit really nicely in, but the vast majority of most local businesses or local business verticals, fit really well into this sort of a model. And so for those, you just have to play around with it. There's nothing that I can recommend more than just trial and error. Sometimes you know, you just got to trial and error shit until you figure it out. You know what I mean? So great questions though. All right, guys, we're way over. I don't typically go this long, but I did this time. So Adam, I appreciate you sticking around, dude. Wrap it up
No
for the day.
worries.
All
Bye,
right, guys.
everybody.